Welcome to WooCommerce for Hatchlings. I'm Andi from DragonByte Web Development, and over this series of videos I'm going to show you how to build a fully featured e-commerce site for your business using WooCommerce and WordPress. Thank you for joining me. Before we start, I want to talk about some of the assumptions I'm making about where you're at and who is most likely to benefit from these videos. These tutorials will be most helpful to you if you have a business idea, a business name, and you have some idea of the types of products you'll be selling. If you're not at that stage yet, you may find these videos useful to find out what's involved, but you will find it hard to build your site as we go. But these videos aren't going anywhere, so bookmark this site and come back whenever you're ready. I'm not assuming you know how to code, although you may find learning a little CSS useful. I'm not assuming you know all the details of your business or exactly how you want your site to look. There'll be plenty of opportunities to go back and customize or expand your site as your business grows. Still here? Let's get down to business. Before you start building your website, you're going to need three things. You're going to need some hosting, you're going to need a domain name, and you're going to need WordPress installed. When you're choosing your hosting, I strongly recommend you choose a provider that includes one-click WordPress installation. If you go to wordpress.org/hosting, you will see that WordPress recommends three hosts: Bluehost, DreamHost and SiteGround. There are plenty of others out there, but if you're not sure where to start, this might be a good place. Have a look and see which one has plans that work for you. You may also have heard of WordPress.com, which offers some free hosting. That's not a good fit for what you're doing here. It's fantastic if you want a basic personal blog, but it doesn't have the flexibility for a full WooCommerce website, so you're not looking at WordPress.com. Once you've got your hosting, you'll also need a domain name. You may want to buy this through your hosting provider. It will make setup easier, but particularly if you're in a different country to your host, you may not find the range offered that you want. Your hosting is what stores your website. It stores all your files, it stores your WordPress installation, it stores your pictures, it stores your text, and a lot more that makes it work behind the scenes. The domain name is how users reach your website. It might be mybookstore.com. They'll type that into their browser and it will take them to your website. So, hosting, domain name. You'll need to follow the instructions given by your hosting provider and where you bought your domain name from if they're different to get everything set up. Note that it can take some time, potentially a few days, for this to be set up and working all over the world. Once you've done that, the next step is to install WordPress. Again, there'll be instructions given by your hosting provider. If you've chosen one with one-click install, it's probably not literally one click, but it should be very straightforward. And once you've done that, you should be able to type in your domain name and go to your site and see WordPress installed. So now you've installed WordPress, your site is probably going to look something a little bit like this. WordPress sets up some basic content for you. You might have a post, you might have some links, you've probably got an image at the top. So now it's time to customize it and make it your own. And the first thing to do is to log in. On any WordPress site, you can go to the URL at the top, which might be mybookstore.com, and at the end you write /wp-admin, so that's wp-admin, and that will take you to the login page. So you should have got your username and your password by email when you installed WordPress. If you haven't, go to the Lost Your Password link and use the email address you used when you signed up for your hosting. Otherwise, log in and it will take you straight to your dashboard. Your dashboard is really the nerve center of your website operation. So here you'll find your content, like your posts and images. It's where you control the appearance and functionality of your website. And we're just going to start now with some very basic settings before we install WooCommerce. So if you go to the settings menu and select General. Now, I'm a dragon. And one thing dragons really like is hordes of gold, and I need more gold. So I've decided to sell some of my precious unfertilized dragon eggs in exchange for gold, or money I can use to buy gold, because for some reason PayPal doesn't let you sell things for gold directly. It's a massive flaw, I know. So this is my dragon egg store. So I'm going to put my business name in the site title box. And then you can choose a tagline. Don't worry too much about this. You can absolutely come back and update it later. And if your puns are as terrible as mine, I strongly suggest you do that. Check also that your email address is correct. If you have a business email address set up, you probably want to use that one. As you can probably tell, I don't speak US English, so I'm just going to change the language there, and also my time zone. Also, just double check the date formats and time formats are in a format that makes sense to you, and then you can go down the bottom and click Save Changes. Let's take another look at our website. You can always view your site in WordPress by going to this home icon in the top left hand corner and then clicking Visit Site. Your site will look mostly the same as before, but there are a couple of changes. You'll see your shop name and your tagline have changed to what you set them as in the settings. Next up, we're going to install WooCommerce to give it functionality and the Storefront theme. Plugins add extra functionality to your WordPress website. Some of them do one very specific thing, others have a broad range of functionality, and that's the case with the WooCommerce plugin. There are both free and paid plugins available. We're only going to use free ones in this course, but you should be aware of some of the paid ones. Sometimes they can be well worth it in terms of increasing your sales or saving you time. So we're going to go to the plugins menu, and then from that we're going to select Add New to add this WooCommerce plugin. And if we go up to the top right and search for WooCommerce, you'll get a sense of how popular WooCommerce is by how many plugins come up. Some of these are official plugins, some of them have been created by others, and they build on and expand what you can do with WooCommerce, some of them integrated with other systems that you might be using. But the one we need comes up first. It's right there in the top left, conveniently called WooCommerce. A couple of things to note with plugins while we're here. You'll see this has got a rating, but it also shows how many people have given it that rating. Sometimes you'll see one with 5 stars and think that's great, but actually it's only been given that by 2 people, probably the developer's mum and dad. But here we can see quite a lot of people use it, and they seem reasonably happy with it. You'll also see that it's been updated pretty recently, just 2 weeks ago, and that it's compatible with our version of WordPress, which is all fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and click Install Now. And we then click Activate. And this particular plugin has a setup wizard that takes some basic information from us here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in with our details. So country, and then city, and then I'm going to put the address in. currency. You can go back later and accept multiple currencies, but just put your main one in for now. I'd suggest you select both physical and digital products so we can see how both of those work, but if you're certain you're only going to do one or the other, you can select that option instead. And I'm also going to tick I will also be selling products or services in person, so we can look at how that works later on. Let's go. Payment, we're going to accept Stripe and PayPal. Just going to check that option here, which allows us to accept payments without linking a PayPal account. Again, we'll look at that later on, and continue. Shipping. Now, I don't know how much it's going to cost me to ship my products. I suspect you're in the same boat. So just for now, I'm going to put a $1 value in, and I'll go back and change that at the end. You'll see it's done some easy division of shipping. Mine is New Zealand and everywhere else. Again, we're going to customize those later on. Check that the weight and dimension units make sense to you. Mine are kilograms. If you know how anyone weighs in ounces, please tell me. Doesn't make sense to me as a measurement of weight, but the ways of the world are diverse. And centimeters, and let's continue. So we do actually want to use the Storefront theme, but I'm going to turn this off because I want to show you how to install a theme yourself. That said, if you don't want to learn that or you're really comfortable installing themes, you can leave this on and it will do it for you. But I suggest you turn that off and we'll go back and install it shortly. Also adding Jetpack. Jetpack does a range of things. It includes some useful stats for us. It monitors my website, so I'll sometimes wake up to an email that says your site was down for 3 minutes at 2:17 AM. It's good to know. So I suggest you connect up with Jetpack, which I'm going to do here. This is when we find out. I actually want to do this via Google. Let's see if I remember my passwords. Taking a while. Can we have some music while we're waiting, please? Great, thank you. Almost there. We're not going to go through these create your first product options. We'll come back to that later as well. So we're just going to go right down to the bottom and click return to your dashboard. And we're back somewhere that's starting to look familiar, I think. Right, so from the dashboard we're going to go to the appearance menu and select themes. Now themes are usually described as what sets how your website looks. That's a bit of an oversimplification, but it will do for now. We're currently on the default 2017 theme. We want to add a new theme, the Storefront theme. So we're going to go to add new theme. And we're going to search for Storefront. Storefront is the official WooCommerce theme, so we know that it's going to work really well with WooCommerce, but it's also quite customizable, so your site's not going to look the same as everyone else's. So we've got Storefront here, and we're going to click install. And that's installing now. And now we're going to click activate to make that the theme that our site uses. Fantastic. So let's take a look at our site again now. Again, up to the top left and visit site. So it's looking a bit different. It's still not looking like a complete website, but you'll notice a few changes. You've got this shopping basket here that when you hover over it, it shows no products in the basket. And you've got some pages that make it look a little more like an online shop, like the basket and the checkout. And in our next video, we're going to start customizing the look of this a lot to make it look more like your individual branded shop. I'll see you then. Thank you for joining me.